and Biden will meet amid the debt limit debate. I want to see your budget. Wednesday in the Oval Office, President Joe Biden will reportedly urge House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, "Show me your budget, I'll show you mine." The two men will finally meet after McCarthy narrowly won the speakership last month, and it will be the first time since then. The meeting will take place in the midst of the ongoing national debt limit stalemate. That would be his message to McCarthy, who has insisted on budget concessions in exchange for Republican support to raise the debt ceiling and prevent a catastrophic default, the president told reporters on Monday. The White House has stated time and time again that it will not engage in negotiations with Republicans because the stakes for the American economy are too high and because the ceiling has already been raised 74 times, including with Republican support during the administration of then-President Donald Trump. But on Tuesday, the president gave the impression that he was willing to negotiate. When asked if he would bargain with the speaker during their scheduled 3:15 p.m. meeting on Wednesday, Biden simply said, "Show me his budget." The president has long portrayed himself as a deal-maker who is eager to meet with Republicans and get to a consensus. On Tuesday, Biden referred to McCarthy as a nice man during a fundraiser in New York. He has, however, called House Republicans radical and claimed that McCarthy had caved in order to gain control. The Trump stated on Tuesday, "Look at what he had to do. In order to be able to become a leader, he had to make commitments that were just completely absurd for a Speaker of the House to undertake." McCarthy responded to what Biden stated at the fundraiser by saying, "Obviously he doesn't comprehend." In order to find savings, McCarthy said, "I'm looking forward to sitting down with the president and bargaining for the American public, the people of America. I think we're going to get down and negotiate," McCarthy said in response to the question of whether he intended to make Biden a particular offer. It wasn't the first time the two men had exchanged blows in public. Prior to the debt ceiling reaching the point where action is required, McCarthy earlier in the day told reporters he was ready to sit down with Biden and finally get this done. "Because why would you endanger American economic viability?" he asked. "Why engage in political games?" McCarthy has stated that although they had met numerous times before he was president, they had not as frequently as when Biden was in office. He suggested on Tuesday that the White House declare that they are open to negotiations because the only other option is to engage in political gamesmanship and declare that no further discussion would be held. "I find it to be fairly childish." Top White House officials had noted in a memo earlier in the day that Biden intended to ask McCarthy two questions during the meeting. According to the memo, which was first obtained by ABC News, the president is planning to ask McCarthy whether he will commit to the bedrock principle that the United States will never default on its financial obligations and whether he concurs with former presidents, including Presidents Trump and Reagan, that it is critical to avoid debt limit brinksmanship. The memo's authors, Brian Deese, the president's senior economic advisor, and Shalanda Young, the head of the White House Budget Office, stated Biden will present his budget on March 9. McCarthy was urged to follow suit by them. It is crucial, they argued, that Speaker McCarthy also commit to releasing a budget, so that the American people can see how House Republicans plan to reduce the deficit, whether through Social Security cuts, Medicare, Medicaid, and Affordable Care Act, ACA, health coverage cuts, and/or cuts to research, education, and public safety, as well as how much their budget will add to the deficit with tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans and large corporations, as well as other items. McCarthy responded in a statement released on Tuesday, saying, "Mr. President, I have a document from your staff. Political games don't interest me. I'm here to bargain on behalf of the American people." In exchange for their support in lifting the debt ceiling, House Republicans insisted on significant spending reductions. The Republican Study Committee, which represents the majority of Republicans in the House, has previously advocated for changes to Social Security and Medicare, including raising the eligibility ages for both programs to 70 for younger workers and 67 for Medicare. McCarthy, though, recently declared that any cuts to Social Security and Medicare were off the table. McCarthy used the Republican Party's Commitment to America plan, which he said strengthens Medicare and Social Security, as evidence. McCarthy has been charged by the White House with being evasive on his proposal for government spending. The question of what he meant by McCarthy was asked if he would seek to raise the retirement age, and he responded, "No, no, no. Keep in mind that I'm referring to Medicare and Social Security. While raising the debt ceiling, McCarthy remarked, "I want to find a sensible and responsible manner that we can take control of this reckless spending." Mitch McConnell, the minority leader in the Senate, has endorsed McCarthy. "Kevin has our full support," he stated on Tuesday, wishing him success in the talks. In the meantime, the White House has frequently asserted that Biden will not bargain or make a concession by linking a debt limit rise to expenditure reductions, despite the fact that both parties have historically extended the ceiling on a bipartisan basis. According to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, attempts to use the debt ceiling as leverage would fail. There won't be any taking of hostages. McCarthy made it obvious that he was standing his ground earlier this month. That the president said he wouldn't even negotiate is reckless. "We're going to take charge. We're going to be reasonable and work together to do this." Therefore, the longer he waits, the more at risk America's finances are. McCarthy revealed this to Rachel Scott, a senior congressional correspondent for ABC News, last month. He continued, "We ought to sit down and take care of this and stop playing politics." The debt ceiling prevents the government from funding any new initiatives, but it does allow the country to borrow as much money as is required to cover its current obligations. The Treasury Department intervened with exceptional measures earlier this month after the federal government reached its current debt ceiling of $31.4 trillion, preventing a catastrophic default until June. The document said that Speaker McCarthy will be asked to publicly reassure both the American people and the rest of the globe that the United States would, as always, respect all of its financial responsibilities. That's the info this time. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so that this channel can continue to exist. Thank you for listening to the end and I hope it's useful.